We're doing it. We are live. Well, if you're here, thanks for joining us. We're about 12 seconds early, but I thought that was okay for you, crowd. Some of you are older, have to get back to bed. I understand. My name's Josh, and this is my co-host, Claire, who's actually that, as far as I can tell. By no means are we experts. We are hobbyists, and to be fair, we haven't even been in the hobby that long, like 6 months, I think. I've got 6 months, Claire.
Closer to 9. I'm almost a year in. My isoversary is in May.
All right, Claire's an expert. So mine went a little deeper into the...
I'm still learning.
Yeah, mine went a little deeper into the shutdown. So it happened while we were shut down and I didn't have to work is when I had it. So getting paid to stay at home. It worked out. So, and I feel like this is a weird observation, but I feel like a lot of people that have some form of isolation in their lives are into isopods. I don't know. And I think that's part of why this community means so much to me. Like, I feel like it's a great community for a lot of people that may not have a community to otherwise enjoy.
Yeah.
I don't know. That seems a little like over the head, but I didn't mean to get deep on anybody today, but that just showed up.
No, but it's super true. Like, there's a lot of us where we don't necessarily have, I don't have any family nearby and I don't have a lot of local friends. So it's great to have this community and people we can hang out with. And we're all bug people and everybody's welcome here. Like, it's amazing. It really is.
Right. So we're already getting comments like crazy. Wally's here. Perfect. Let's see if we can pop these up on the screen.
Hey.
Kane Hearts. Flawdette Design. I don't know who that is. Oh, Coral. That's Coral B.
Oh,
all right.
Hey, we got Canadian watchers now. Awesome.
Nice hair. Thank you, Coral. Thank you, Coral. Somebody respect Claire's hair. She actually did something with it. I rubbed. I literally rubbed medicated lotion,
and it looks good.
This episode brought to you by Cetaphil. If you have itchy skin, put this shit on it, and it'll stop. Kind of. It's not great, but I use it. I noticed Permian Exotics is here, saying hi to Wally for some reason. Wally's here as well from Supreme Gecko. We sound ISO great. I'm going to leave that up on the screen. Thanks, Wally. So now that it's up Permian Exotics, I think we need to do a little commercial for them. We owe them a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So just for that occasion, don't mess with that. So this is the Permian Exotics enclosure that they have. I'm not used to cameras yet. This is virtually indestructible. Their tagline is, and I'm not sure that this is their official tagline, but you can't even crack this with your mama's fat ass. So that's very Texan. I appreciate it. I'm going to go back to revealing the hair. This is an antique, actually. This hat's like 25 years old. So back when I was really, really trying to date a girl who was into line dancing and country music, and oh my God. And I got a hat to do that. It's like a $200 cowboy hat from 20 years ago. So it's probably $8,000 now. Inflation.
Maybe. It's also totally worthwhile as like Indiana Jones cosplay.
Oh, he said it's not his tagline, but I really think you should consider it. So you have a hat from cosplay? Is that what you said? Or I should do cosplay?
Indiana Jones. You could be Indy in that hat.
His hat's a little cooler, I think.
He also doesn't like snakes, to be fair.
I don't really care for snakes. I have a thing against snakes and a lot of snake people. So,
but it's okay if you're a snake person watching. We still love you here. We still want you here. We'll still talk snakes and bioactive.
We are going to talk snakes eventually. I'm not like afraid of them. They don't do anything for me. I don't know. They're like a tube. I did hear that God took the legs from snakes to give the other animals a fair chance. And I feel like that's appropriate. I'm always amazed at pictures or videos of what a snake can murder. So let's get to the point of the show. These are going to be interviews where Claire and I interview people from the community. And by the community, I mean isopods, microfauna, and that's a large blanket that I made even larger. So reptiles, amphibians, anything that really needs a cleanup crew or could use a cleanup crew. We're going to do small mammals. We might even do large mammals. we haven't gotten there yet. So I don't know that that's going to be a thing. I'd like to keep the focus on things you could keep in a container or many containers. So we're going to have some generic questions. Claire and I are going to ask ourselves or ask each other those questions. Now we're not going to ask ourselves. So Claire, do you want to start off? Do you have the questions?
I have the questions. I can ask you questions.
Well, we'll go back and forth. We'll each answer them. We'll just go back and forth, I thought.
Great.
How's
so
that?
when did you get capital letters serious about the hobby?
Serious was like a month ago. Before that, I was basically a hoarder. I just wanted to be like the Pokemon guy that like I got to have them all.
Catch them all.
And then I laser focused, which I still haven't bought any Armadillium since I focused. But I focused on Armadillium species because I just like the ones that can actually roll into a ball. Like they're just, I don't know, they're superior to me. No disrespect to Wally and the Hoffman Segai, but yeah. I don't know what a like spike is. They're asking about a like spike. Is that something your kids are into now? What is that? Are they liking the video?
I have no idea. This coming online with YouTube is all brand new to me. Like in terms of when I got serious about the hobby, I'm still not sure how serious I am. I'm really a hobbyist. I collect the ones that I think are pretty. I take good care of them. I love them. But I'm modding for 2 Isopod groups now, and I'm doing the podcast, and we've got other surprises coming later on. So,
wow. All right.
So I guess it gets more serious every day.
See? Oh, Wally's doing it for us. This is awesome. We have like extra mods in here. For those of you that don't know, Claire will talk to her pods like they're babies in the middle of a chat session.
Them like they're young children. Yeah. I also talk to my lizard the same way. And when they're bad, I cuss at them, sometimes in Arabic.
I don't know how.
They haven't heard getting cussed at in German yet.
I don't know how. Cuss at them in Russian if you want to make it stick. Like
the only thing I know how to say in Russian is I don't know.
Oh, well, we can work on that later. So I've got a couple of Russian swears. Let's see. What's the next one? I'm going to ask the next one. So you got the did you get serious? All right. Claire, I'm putting you on the spot here.
Okay.
What do you think is the most rewarding part of the hobby? And the hobby specifically for us is Isopods.
Finding new babies. Oh my God. Especially the first babies.
Oh, absolutely. The first babies of a species are just the very first.
There's like opening up a bin or flipping over a piece of pork and oh my God, there's the teeniest, tiniest, cutest little baby manka right there. And they haven't bred for me yet. And oh my God, I squeal. It's like being a teenager again.
When I finally find some clown babies, I'm going to probably shit myself a little bit or a lot. I'm not making any promises, but there's going to be at least a fart, at least a fart. It's going to happen.
It's going to be an experience, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been waiting for, well, almost the entire 6 months for them to have babies, and they refuse. So,
audience members, if you want a chance to witness this as it happens, join us in the after party in the chat room at IsoBuddies over on Facebook. If you're not a member yet, go join and then come back.
You can join. Yeah, it's IsoBuddies on Facebook. I'll approve you. I'll approve everybody for the next hour. So bring your troll friends. I don't know, Claire, if you can see the quote that I put up on the screen. That's your quote, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did yell that at Isopods. We're going to try and keep this YouTube friendly, like PG-13.
Now, with that grading, though, we get one F word. So that is eat your fucking carrots, which was yelled by Claire at her Isopods who are not eating their blank carrots.
I fed them, and then they did eat them. They ate them. They listened to me.
All right. I thought they were just not eating it, and you were very upset.
No, I forgot that I had an extra bid to feed, so I yelled at them when I fed them.
Somebody's rubbing it in. Their clowns just had babies. Wally said to join the channel just to hear me pass gas, which is that part's not really that odd. So a strong listener will know that that's pretty common occurrence. Like I'm alone in my basement. Like the audio doesn't matter to me. I also think the most rewarding part is to see the babies and to see them thrive in a setup that you are literally God for these creatures. Like the moisture is important. Every little thing is important. I feel like most other pets you can kind of set and forget almost, like feed them, clean them, whatever. But these guys are easy and they're not. Like if you want them to really thrive, they're not that simple to keep. So obviously,
I do have to say it's also rewarding when you grow a colony from like 6 or 10 or 12 individuals until you get to the point where you have to upgrade them or change or refresh the substrate because there are just so many now. It's amazing. I am up to 3 bins of Armadillidium vulgare because my backyard stock has taken very well to captivity.
Yeah, my dairy cows, I started with 15, I think, from Wally, from the great Wally Kern at Supreme Gecko. If you haven't gone, go. He's got great prices, great pods. Can't say enough good things. And he sent me, I got dairy cows and the orange koi scaber. And both now, I'm shipping tomorrow. I'm shipping 500 dairy cows and 300 of the koi. And that's probably 2/3 of each collection. But in less than 6 months is what I'm saying. And to be fair, the first set that Wally sent me of the orange koi were apparently sterile, or all females or something. I don't know. I got no babies. And then
they were probably all males, considering the females can store the sperm. You might have had a sausage party.
I might have a sausage party. I never even thought of it like that. Now I'm going to be checking for their little sausages. You don't see that in Oren's book, do you? So I had him send me a refill, like a top off, and those 12 have produced. So I don't know. There were some O's in that batch. Let's see. Question 3.
Question 3.
It's your turn, Claire.
Pro tips for people like me who are relatively new at this?
Oh, nice. That is mine, like me. My pro tip is don't just limit yourself to checking on them twice a week, especially when it changes, when the weather changes and they're in your basement and you have a furnace or a heat source near them. Check on them at least 3 times a week. I would say 3 times a week, just to check the substrate, make sure that everything's at the moisture level you need. There's nothing scarier than I got my Texas card pulled somehow.
There's nothing scarier than opening your bin, finding 2/3 of your dairy cows are dead, and then starting a taxidermy project. Trust me, I learned from experience. If you want some of my taxidermy, I'll be putting them up on my arts and crafts page at some point. Bluebelly Creations.
Are you wearing yours around your neck now?
I'm wearing my little cloud one around my neck now, yes.
Okay, so this is one of her. Yeah, that is
It is a little tiny Armadillidium klugii in 70% isopropyl alcohol. I just have to keep it topped off because I can't figure out how to seal the
as jewelry. So that's another level. I knew Ching would like that. I knew Ching would like that for sure. I think he may have inspired it, right? Did he inspire with his wet mounts?
He made the wet mount post, and then I found a freshly dead magic potion that I think was old age because it was a big one, and everyone else was fine. And I figured, I should make this a necklace, and that one will be a necklace, but I have to wax seal it because it's got a cork cap.
I got ya. Now, what are your pro tips? Do you have a pro tip for these fine people?
Join the community. Get involved. Keep watching us because we're going to have some big names on here that know their stuff. Like, I know Wally's going to be on soon enough. We've got some other people that you probably know from YouTube if you do any of your research there. But yeah, join the groups. Watch the videos. Come hang out with us on Tuesdays at Isobuddies here, and then the after party in the group room, or in the Isopod 911 chat on Fridays, and get to know us. Ask your questions seriously. Like, no question is dumb. No question is bad. Even if we've answered it a million times before, we want you to get started off right. We'll always answer.
Absolutely. And the chats are always good. Like, sometimes we get a little off topic or a lot off topic, but we're working on that.
But usually you have to hang out with us a few hours to get to that point, or come in really, really late.
Yeah, if you're here after hour 2, if you're at the chats after hour 2, like, that's on you. That's really your responsibility.
If it hits 10 o'clock Pacific, anything could happen. So basically, midnight anywhere east of where I live. Good
right.
luck.
All right. Where are we at time-wise? We're doing really good time-wise.
We're doing great.
This is a great experiment. Question 4.
Question 4. What got you into this hobby, Josh?
She just snatched my question. It was my turn.
Was it?
You piece of crap,
Sorry.
you.
Hey.
That's why you're the co-hosts. That's why you're Robin to my Howard. No, not a fan anymore. So who or what got me into this hobby? I would say for sure it's Wally's videos. Wally Kern's videos got me into this hobby. And then I spread out. I don't even remember how I came across his videos. I think I was looking into getting crested geckos. That's it. I was looking into crested geckos for that giant paludarium that I'm planning. That'll be in planning, so I'm probably 70. But that's what got me into it, because I started to read about crested geckos, and then somebody posted something about bioactivity, and I was like, what? And then Wally's got all of that. So his geckos are amazing. His pods are great. His customer service is fantastic. It's all good. So that was the guy who got me into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a little bit, to a lesser extent, Russ Wilson, because Russ's videos are kind of all over the place, but Wally's were very focused on isopods. But Russ had a lot of really good, really solid information at Aquarimax.com or Aquarimax Pets.
Aquarimax, yeah.
I'm not really good at doing these name drops.
That's why you got me.
Yeah. So Matt just commented to hammer down and get that thing done. Matt, that's a great point, but I might be moving. I haven't decided if we're moving yet or not. So I don't want to move a gargantuan terrarium if we're moving. So I'll build it where we wind up. It's on the fence. It's like really 50-50 right now. Russ is the best. Thanks, Wally. Boom. Beginner Isopod 911. That one's a good group. Oh, Ashley. Sounds really good.
Hey,
That's pretty
Ashley.
good. There's chats there on Friday night, folks. Don't mess out. Ashley, post up the actual name of it, would you? Because I don't think beginner 911 will be enough.
It's beginner Isopod owners and Isopod 911. And if you join ISO Buddies, it will probably pop up on your recommended, because a lot of us are members of both.
Yeah, we're kind of sister pages, basically. So mine covers more than Isopods. Ashley's is basically Isopods.
And a lot of education and information.
Yeah. Hers is more education focused, and mine is more like, guys, look at this. I found an ant with nipples. It's not nipples. So I get the last question. I'm going to close this out.
Okay.
Or did you answer? You didn't answer.
Yeah, I didn't answer.
All right.
I don't know how you got it. So I got in because of a lizard D. I was looking into doing bioactive for him, so I was researching cleanup crews, and then of course isopods. So I found some in my backyard like the day after I ordered my first set of giant canyons from Frog Daddy. And while I was getting set up and doing my research, of course, I found Russ from Aquarimax and Wally, and they're both going to be on the show later on, so keep tuned for our schedule. And then I joined the groups, and Ashley used to have a rule in 911 that you had to be active to maintain your membership. So I got active, and now here we are.
That's right. You do have to maintain your membership and stay a little active in that group. Yeah. I forget, which is smart. Totally smart. We have so many creepers and ISO buddies that, I can only encourage people to get more involved and just throw something stupid out there, whatever.
Just comment, just like.
Yeah,
like, comment, subscribe, like you ought to be doing right now for us.
Don't be shy. We're totally accepting of everybody. We have Grady in our chats all the time, so please. I probably shouldn't have triggered him. That was probably a bad idea. We'll see.
He has claimed his place as resident troll, so we'll see how bad he hurts us.
Yeah, we brought our own troll to the party. We didn't wait for anybody to show up. We did it ourselves. All right, last.
If you try to troll us, we're gonna stick him on you.
True. Nice. Or one of his what are they called? I can't think of the word right now. One of his aliases. There you go.
Yeah.
So if you get messed with somebody but named Tater Salad, you know where that came from. So Claire, the last question, well, the last generic question, and then we'll get to the specific ones.
Yeah.
So the format is we're going to ask specific questions later. So number 5, do you have any special background related to the hobby? And in this case, isopods.
So, not really. I used to teach outdoor education, and one of the things with the program I was in was we would go into the schools and visit the schools for a 3-day citizen science program. We teach kids about the scientific method and tell them all about different arthropods on the first day. And then on the second day, it was the field trip to the park for hunting bugs with vacuum aspirators. And if I was not the queen of finding millipedes and roly-polies, I know everywhere in my local metro area that is good in a public park for finding millipedes and roly-polies. So if you ever want to go bug hunting and you figure out where I live, hit me up.
I figure out, I'm just going to drive around wherever Nevada gets snow or ice, because you've been complaining about that. So it can't be too many spots.
In the mountains right now. I opened the window today. It's great.
Yeah, ours was like 43.
I'm up in northern Nevada, and I know where to find bugs in the wild.
Oh.
And then after we found the bugs in the wild, we counted them up. We did catch and release, of course, because we have to be, environmentally conscious. We have to be ethical citizens. We have to be stewards of our parks and open spaces. Then we went back in and we took our data and we collected it and crunched it. We had the kids do some charts. So, basic scientific method stuff,
Do you still use that vacuum thing, the bug vac?
Vacuum aspirator? I'd have to procure one from somewhere because they were owned by the program, and that was an AmeriCorps volunteer position. It was a year-long thing. I'm unfortunately no longer with them.
I'm thinking about getting one.
I could probably make one. Like, you've got that friend that can make a bong out of anything. I could probably do that with a vacuum aspirator.
I do have a friend that can make a bong out of anything. Yes, even though that's not my jam. Nothing against it.
Josh? What about your special background?
I'm just an animal nut. Like, I can't get over it. My sister thinks it's hilarious that this is my hobby now, because we used to, when we were kids, I would pick up a log or a rock or something in the back and make her catch the thing with her bare hands. Like, I would just lift the rock. That was my deal. Like, oh no, I'm the big one. My little sister, she was probably 6 or 7 at the time. So I was 10 or 11-year-old boy that wouldn't touch that stuff. So I'm just going to leave Rachel's comment up for a little while because it just makes me smile.
That's a great one.
It is really good. So bravo, Rachel. She's going to be our guest next week, Rachel at Pet Peds and Pods. And I found out today through Rachel that if you want to join Twitch, which eventually you're going to want to, we'll get to that more when we have more nailed down. But apparently you can't have the word or the phrase peds in your name because that is a slur for the homosexual crowd. So I had never heard that before, but it's French. It's French.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that Flawed Design is Grady. Is that Grady?
I don't know.
I think it is. I think we found him. There's only like 6 people here. There you go. Yep. There's verified. In French, peds is like a slur. Okay. It's like a bad thing. It's like the 3-letter F word. You don't do it. You don't just don't use it. So, but we're not French. So peds means millipedes or centipedes. Not my favorite. Creepy.
Still better than an earwig.
Yeah, I found out earwigs are a super source of food for ants. So I may actually spend some time catching them this summer. So apparently ants go crazy to eat earwigs.
I have a ton of earwigs in the backyard. I can send you some.
Please don't. If I open that mail, I'll have a heart attack and poop myself and die. And it won't be on camera. So it's not worth it.
Probably better not to send earwigs from one locality to another in the mail just in case there's separate subspecies or something. No invasive.
Yeah.
No
send me some super ones, super millipedes with like 3 tails.
I did find an earwig in an old apartment in my kitchen sink, and I stuck it in a pill jar overnight, and the next day I put it in with the lizard, and it managed to escape being eaten for a couple of months. And I found it while I was digging around doing something clean in the tank, and I figured I'd try and catch it. He saw what was going on and was like, "Human, I will help you," came over and ate it. So that earwig did meet its just end.
Fantastic. I hate them. I think they're vile. I didn't know anything ate them, so I'll be excited to watch them get live fed to ants. Like, I know that's a little dark, a little morbid, but hey, it's part of the deal.
And D, I do not recommend wild caught anything. D was an environmental ethics mistake, but it's been 3 years and we get along and I love him. He was still pretty fresh from the wild. I wouldn't usually recommend feeding wild caught anything because you don't know where it's been or what it might have in it, whether that's parasites or some kind of pesticide or metal contamination.
Oh, okay. Well, my yard is pretty safe, but my neighbors do some pesticides, but all of the pods that I pulled out of, yeah, I better video that. All the peds. I'm not saying peds again. I don't know why I said that. All the pods that I pulled out of my yard are fine. Like, they're doing great. I found mankai and I left them alone this year, like just swarming my garden. So, now let's get into the specific questions. These are the ones you don't know about. So for future guests, we will let you know the questions that we're going to specifically ask specifically to you. But we have not done that in this case. Although Claire,
it's a surprise.
Yeah. Well, one of Claire's is not a surprise because she figured it out. But
not entirely a surprise because it came up in chat. But
yeah.
So we'll do yours first. If you have another plan.
I'm going to throw one out and then, no, I'm still using it. So we'll just get that one first. Then you ask me one and then I'll ask you one and then we'll keep going.
Yeah.
So it's like 4 questions. So what does bluebelly actually mean in your bluebelly?
I have a page. I just started it. I'm not really active on it yet. I have bluebelly bugs for my insects, for my isopods, and I have bluebelly creations for some of my art. And my lizard is himself a bluebelly lizard. That's the colloquial name. He's got a wonderful little blue belly and blue chin, and he's adorable. But yeah, Sceliporus occidentalis are called bluebellies, and he's a huge source of inspiration, and he's wonderful, and I probably wouldn't be here in a number of ways if I didn't have him. So I figured when I was looking for a name, that bluebelly bugs had a nice ring to it, and I'd call it after D.
It does sound good. I've never heard of a bluebelly. I've heard of a red belly, but not a bluebelly.
Yeah, the western fence lizard, they live, I forget exactly which subspecies is local to me, but the species on the whole, they live from California clear up into parts of Washington, and from California into, I believe, even into Utah for the Great Basin subspecies. They're really kind of southwest.
Okay, cool.
And west coast. Yeah. They also have this chemical in their blood that'll kill Lyme disease. So while we have ticks and while we have Lyme, we don't have it nearly as bad as other places, in part because of this thing in their blood. There's still research being done. I can't cite anything. I unfortunately don't have access to the academic journals, but if somebody can pull a paper, send me the link, because even if I don't have access, we can always email the lead authors and see if they'll send us a copy.
Yeah. Well, we're going to try and do that anyway. So when we get huge, we've got at least 10 people in here. I mean, that's 11 more than I thought we'd get. I didn't think Brandon was going to show up today. Shout out to Brandon Nicole.
Shout out to Brandon. Yes, we love Brandon.
Brandon's our homegirl. She's a girl named Brandon. Just happens to be named Brandon. Don't get confused like I did. I thought it was one of those like his and hers accounts where it was like a boyfriend, girlfriend, or husband, wife, where they have to have their own account, but they're not brave enough, so they have the joint account. That I don't trust people like that. But she's super nice, and she's just named Brandon. My dad's name is Kim, so I understand that. It's kind of cool. But anyway, Brandon is kind of our moderator, I guess. Yeah. So it'll work out a little better next week.
Brandon does all of our mod and all of our back of house, and maybe we'll get her on at some point.
It's not Brandon? Yeah, it is. Who's this?
I don't know, but hey, Josh, you're known for your non-traditional and avant-garde enclosures. Where do you get your inspiration?
For those? I literally look at a thing on Amazon. Oh, Chunky Avocado. Sorry. Don't call her Brandon. Sorry, I outed her name. Sorry, forget that. Zemblanity. It's the opposite of serendipity. I remember that. Okay. Sorry, Zemblanity.
Avant-garde enclosures, inspiration, go.
I go to Amazon and I see something cool, and my brain just goes, and then I imagine them in it, and what a pain in the ass that would be or not, and the possible benefits. So I don't really have one out with me, but I'm kind of known for my not smart ideas for how to keep pots. The one I did I got one of those old school plastic. It's just a plastic tub. It's about a foot tall by about 18 inches wide and about 1.5 inches deep. And I filled it with dirt for a burrowing species. So his name I can't think of right now. The little armadillidium guys that burrow. I can't think of it. I'm totally drawing a blank. I was worried I was going to do this today. It starts with a V.
Venetsilio parvis.
Parvis, yes, the parvis. So, and I totally can see them. So they have a couple of worms in there. They have springtails, which you see way more than you see them. It still gives them enough area to burrow where they want. My only complaint is eventually everything kind of collapses with moisture. So they have tunnels in there that I can't really see. So I might have to dump it out and redo it. But it does help you really see the burrowing species. So if you have a burrowing species and you just want to put a couple in there, like I think I have 24 in there maybe, but they're like a mini pod. They're a little bitty guy. So it's cool to actually see them and not have to like put a piece of zucchini in there and flip it over once a month. Like, oh yeah, I still have them. They're still alive. It's cool to see them and see how it's taken off. I have junk millipedes in there too. I think I got those as like an outbreak. So yeah, but back to the question. I see a thing online and I go, oh yeah, I could put isopods in there. Some of them have been really good ideas and some of them just have not. So I have my rubber duckies in a setup where I hopefully can see them more than normal because I just have the 12 or so. So, and they're in with walking sticks, actually. I put them in with stick insects. So they're interesting. You can see them. If you get them, they play dead really well. I was ready to throw mine away, and then I just said, or I was ready to throw him away. And he was not just sitting still. He was like crumpled, right? So I was like, oh, he's totally dead. Nope, wasn't dead. 2 days later, he was up at the top eating leaves and doing his whole thing. Yeah. So yeah, I did find an awesome ant enclosure. Thanks, Rachel. So yeah, I just see it in my head. When I see the thing, I go, oh, that would be so cool. And now I'm building a huge ant farm thing that's going to be hopefully really cool and not a failure.
Yeah,
So,
I should have asked you about that. So guys, head over to Isobuddies for the after party in the room, and maybe we'll get Josh to actually get it out and walk us through it.
Or the sound of me drilling something. Let's see. I asked that one. All right, pick a favorite isopod. Do it.
Magic potions today. I don't know. It changes all the time.
Is that just for the sake of their jewelry, or is that?
No. I actually really like them alive. I prefer them alive, but they're pretty, so they make good mounts when they do pass, because we're all mortals and you will die. No, actually, I took isopods to one of my online tutoring classes last week, and my student decided to observe the magic potion. And then just before our podcast, I had my next class with her, and we wrote a paragraph about a magic potion that she named Banana Milkshake.
Bravo. Banana Milkshake is just, yeah, that makes sense to me. That's fine. And we're wondering why people are isolated in this hobby. I tell you.
I didn't come up with it. I asked her what we should call it, and that's what she said.
You can't go wrong.
No. I might have to start calling my magic potions my banana milkshakes now. That's how we'll tell the difference between the Japanese and the American ones. The Japanese ones are banana milkshakes.
Is there a difference?
I've
been told there is. I've been told there's not. Yeah, I'm not an expert, but I've heard both, and I can't see a difference on anything. If anybody knows the difference in the chat, like go ahead and post that up, a brief synopsis. Yeah, hit up those thrift stores, guys, for sure.
Oh yeah, hit up the thrift stores. Like, yeah, my local SPCA has a thrift store, and I have a fish tank that I have to or a fish bowl. You know, one of those bowls you're not supposed to keep fish in. It now has a couple of aloe plants and a piece of cork, and I have to decide which isopods are going to move in. I also found a glass, like, fancy ice bucket at the Target with Halloween clearance, and that is an amazing observation enclosure, and they're breeding in there.
I love that one with the trees. It's got the trees painted up the side. It looks really cool.
Yeah.
I wanted to do that to one of my things, but I just got too excited to put the pods in and didn't do it. The place is called The Dig. What? Dig and Save. Okay. Pay for the pound of shit that you buy at a thrift store. All right. That makes sense.
We have a Goodwill outlet that's the same way if you can handle that organization.
I don't know if milkshakes bring isopods to the yard, but I think that Laura hit it on the head. Like regular milkshakes bring the boys to the yard, I would say. In my experience. Let's see. So is it my turn? It's your turn, right?
It's your turn. It's similar to your question. If you woke up one day and found that you'd become an isopod, a la Metamorphosis, how would your friends and family respond? And what kind of isopod would you want to be?
Can I still communicate to people in this, or am I just an isopod with my brain? Like, I don't know, vocal cords still, right?
Like the Kafka story. I mean, he tried. Gregor Samsa tried.
Oh, shit. I would have to run for my life. My wife would murder me. No question.
She'd walk through the room and throw an apple at you and hope it landed on you and poison you. Spoiler alert if you haven't read Kafka.
She would at least flick me onto the floor. Like, I'm waking up, so I'm in bed with her.
Right, but you're like your size. Like, you're still tall, but you're an isopod that's that size now.
So what kind would I be?
What kind would you be? What would you want to be?
Oh, man. It would definitely be a Fissionalis. It would definitely be a Fissionalis, yeah. Not an Orange Crush.
You can still hiss. You can talk.
I can make a little noise. I can do stuff, but that's it. So it's like, yeah, no, I'd have to flee. Yeah, my family and friends would assume that I just dipped out on reality and got a bus up somewhere in bear country and died from eating berries or something like that, dude.
Dude, that's dark.
Yeah, that's what they would assume happened. Like I just flipped out and took off. That's what I assume they would look for me for sure. But
yeah, well, and
nice, Ben.
There is a difference between that friends and family and your isopod friends and family too. Like I'm pretty sure one of us would jump in and make an enclosure for you as soon as we found out.
I mean, I'd have to get down to that person and then hope they spilled a bottle of ink and like tapped out a little message, like, because otherwise, how would you know? Like, you wouldn't know it was me.
Tell your wife to message me that something dumb had happened, and I'll get right on it.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I don't know what this means. If you're an abyssal giant, you poop once every 7 years.
You would die because you wouldn't wake up under the ocean. You'd wake up in your bed, and the abyssal giants are the deep sea ones.
Oh, they poop every 7 years? That seems...
They don't need to eat a lot, and so they don't need to go a lot on account of living on the ocean floor and having to wait for things like dead whales to fall and grace them with food.
Oh, Ben's a giant too. Ben's a big boy. All right. So I guess I'd have to be... I wouldn't be a Hoff, though. I'd be a sturdy giant, like a giant canyon. It would just be, like, thick, right? All right. I think that covered it. And that's a horror story. Like, I would not want to be that guy. All right. Claire, is your view of the hobby relaxing or stressful? Like, when you're checking your stuff, is it...
It's kind of both. So sometimes I procrastinate a couple of days just because I'm up to like 20 bids and I try and check them all at the same time because I don't really want to be dealing with it every day, but I probably ought to start splitting it up. But I do like watching them, and I usually check my bids during our check-in chat, so it's like a social hour. It's Isopod happy hour, and the Isopods usually get fed and watered, so they're extra happy.
Yeah, perfect. It's like... exactly the answer, because it can be stressful when you open a bin and you just get a smell and you're like, oh God, what is that smell?
Yeah. Or I want to keep eating shrimp, and this does not smell like good shrimp. They are crustaceans. They do smell shrimpy when they're dead.
Somebody's trying to log in to check in chat again, so I'm going to decline that invitation. You guys don't have to do that yet. So if you're looking to check in chat, it's not happening because we're here. We're here.
And
so
we don't have to be here a whole lot longer, but we'll let you know when it's time to migrate.
Yeah, we'll, as soon as we log off of here, which is not too far from now.
All right, John.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
We'll finish this up. What's the origin story for the name Isopods?
The origin story for the name? That comes from my bromance, my severe bromance with Ching Freeman. Or Ching Pongpakti? How close was that, Ching? Sorry, I have to have my readers on. I got to get way up in the screen to see what the heck anybody said. He goes by Ching Freeman, though, on our pages here. That's how you'll know him. But yeah, we're buddies, and we became ISO buddies. We were the first ISO buddies. And then our bromance got a little too intense for some channels and some readers on another channel, apparently. So we started our own channel. I said, forget it. I'm not going to hide my love for this other man. And I brought it to this page. And apparently Ching's like my size, but Asian. And he's into everything Asian ever. So if you want to see a good video about ninja swords or samurai swords, I guess they are, or somebody making a teapot from scratch, like a really cool artisan teapot, like Ching's your guy. He is into all that stuff. And I look at it, if it's more than 5 minutes, I'm like, nah. Not that the video is more than 5 minutes, but like whatever they're building. If it was longer than 5 minutes, I'm out. I can't have that hobby. I need a quick, awesome hobby, which makes it harder to do. Yeah, which makes Isopods harder to do because waiting for babies is insanity.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But then you get them, and then they grow up, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
My mom jokes about having like great-grandchildren because of the Isopods.
That's weird. My mom is disgusted by my Isopods.
My mom calls the lizard her grand lizard because she knows she's not getting grandkids anytime soon out of me or my brother.
Crazy. Yeah, my mom has not. I guarantee she has not logged into this. My in-laws have. I had to promise them there wasn't going to be gross bugs.
My mom the link maybe next week, but I did send a bunch of friends, and some of them should be here. So. Yeah,
I see a couple people that weren't from the chats. I think you see my cousin in here. I don't really see who else. They do grow fast, Matt. Apparently I said Ching's name correctly. So Aces,
good job.
Aces. I try to be very multicultural.
So I'm looking at how long we've been live for, and I'm wondering if maybe we want to take the last few minutes and open it up and see if anybody in the audience has questions for us. What do you think, John?
I think we have to wait that 15 seconds because they don't know what we're saying yet.
There is a lag with streaming. But yeah, guys, as soon as you hear, send us some questions, and we'll keep the party going. We want to know what you want to know about us.
Did Wally put up a video? Funny. All right. I was apparently Giant Pod versus Godzilla.
Oh, yeah. Giant Pod versus Godzilla. I'd watch that. I'd watch the crap out of that.
Yeah. I'm surprised it hasn't been made. Like, it would roll up in a ball and, sparks would come out of the sides and it would just ram the shit out of Godzilla.
Anybody who's a Japanese cinephile, let us know if it's been made in the original because, yeah.
Wally's question. Can you see that or no?
Yes, I can see that. So, Wally, is it an African swallow or a European swallow?
Nice. I was going to say 37. I know where it's from. I don't remember what they answered, but I know somebody died over it.
That was the answer. Was it African or European? We have to figure this out.
Outstanding. He's just excited that we know where it came from. Yeah, everybody knows the Monty Python, Wally. Come on. It's not like the third season of How I Met Your Mother. That show I'm about to ruin for everybody. This is a bonus. So that show is about a guy telling his teenage daughter and son how much ass he used to get. Just telling about how much strange he was hitting. That's the whole show. And then it winds up being a girl he used to bang after their mom is dead. And they're like, oh man, mom's dead now. You can go get her. That's the weirdest show ever. Yep, that's the whole show.
Yeah, I've only ever seen like 2 episodes, so. Do we have any other questions?
I don't see any more. They're just
they're ready for the after party.
Apparently. I'm going to wait the 15 seconds and see what we get. It's like I need a timer. Avocado, how we doing? I want to click over and see what we've got as far as viewers. We got 9 likes.
if
Did I
they
mute
don't have
myself
that
here?
many, if they don't have that many questions for us, it's probably because they're all
Oh.
regulars in chat and kind of know us.
I'm seeing some. Okay, when do you
Okay,
stop
cool.
collecting isopods? God, I guess when you run out of room, but they take up so little space. Like you could get 1,000,000. If you're doing side vents, you could stack them to the ceiling. So
Yeah, infinity. There's not, I don't think there could be I think there would get to be a point where it would be out of control and I would need help, but I don't think that there would ever actually be a stopping point. What I'm going to do with my collecting right now is there's a whole lot of really awesome breeders and producers out there, and I want to work with more of them. So instead of adding new bins, I'm going to add new genetics to my bins. That's my plan.
yeah, that's a good plan. I feel like that exploded some of my populations. My milkbacks went insane after they crashed. I had like 10 individuals left, and I got some from someone else, and they're nuts again already. There's at least 100 in there. Yeah, you just build more shelves. Like you can't run out of space. Like I'm slowly running out of space, but I'm just going to move stuff and put things somewhere else. Who else? Coral Reef. I think that's B, right? Coral B.
Maybe.
Wanted to know if you could, where do you keep your isopods? I keep mine right over here in that corner back there. So it's pretty highly lit because of my live plants. I have a crested gecko over there. I have my ants over there. Those are my bins. I've tried bins from all kinds of different sellers because I want to see what's the best. And that's why it's a mishmash. I should have just gone Sterilite, all the same sizes, left it at that, but I just couldn't do it. Plus my propensity for odd bins.
Well, and my bins aren't all Sterilite because they kept selling out of them here. So I've got a couple of different sizes and designs. Mine are, as soon as you walk in my front door, there's the shelf, and there's now a second shelf, and there's 2 more parts to the second shelf coming because I got it from a friend. It was a 3-part thing, but only 1 part fit in the car.
Perfect.
I am not walking you through my apartment today, but maybe I'll show you at a future podcast. Or maybe I'll move them into here so that they're behind me.
If you log into the chat afterwards, you'll see a ton of stuff.
Yeah, I can move the computer for that.
Claire's one of the few people that keeps her camera on most of the time. Her ceiling is super obvious, like we know when it's Claire because her ceiling is.
Yeah, it's a very nice paint job, and I have Christmas lights outlining my living room because that was the easiest way to get the light switch to work and have light.
So all right. So Swarley, I think I'm pretty sure that's my cousin. Could you put all your species in one giant enclosure? It depends on how giant. I think you could, but eventually, I think a couple species would take over. Like, and they don't like fight, but they would outcompete each other.
It would be like Thunderdome or Mad Max. You could put them all together, but
it'd be way more boring than that.
They all fill a similar niche in the ecosystem, so they're all competing with each other. It's not as good as like the walking sticks and the rubber duckies that Josh has, where you've got the above ground bugs and the below ground bugs.
Oh, sorry, that was just a rething. Ben says he's going to build a shipping container for all his, which I think is great because people are living in those things.
Yeah.
You could just have one side, one whole length of it be bugs, and then at the end, like your desk with your stuff. That would be awesome. Morris wants to know our dirt recipe. So when I can't afford Morris's dirt, which is quite often, Permian Exotics, in my opinion, has the best substrate that I've seen. So even including mixes that people make themselves, like Permian Exotics there's another commercial, I guess we're throwing it in because we had to make a joke about his enclosure, but it is a fine enclosure. But the dirt is there. It's science-based, so you can trust that. My dirt recipe is pretty boring. It's the wood chips, the I can't think of it again. The pellets that they do. I hydrate the pellets for smokers. Potting soil or peat moss is in there, sphagnum moss. I crunch up as much leaves as I can. Right now it's pretty shallow on leaves because I want to just give the leaves that I have over the winter. I'm missing stuff, I know. Garden lime is in there.
Mine is based on organic potting soil. There was one brand I was using, but I recently found a better one at my local nursery, and that particular potting soil has like worm castings and dead plant material and compost, and there's no fertilizers. There's nothing chemical that's not natural. So it's all the good stuff that you want. And then I mix it with some sphagnum. I mix it with a calcium source. I've got crushed eggshells in right now. Actually, I think my new potting soil base actually has oyster shells in it. So I make sure that they have something nutritious and something for calcium. And because I live in the desert and work with a number of desert species, then I usually add a little bit of play sand just to keep the consistency right, but doesn't really need that.
I initially used Reptis sand in mine because it's calcium based, and I figured that couldn't be bad. But I've been told the opposite. So I haven't had any problems that I know of from it. I've used it from day one, but now it's just a bin of my old substrate bin is now my powder bin. So all my powder overflow is in there. So there's just probably a couple thousand in there right now.
Is a tuk-tuk an isopod? Well, it's as
They are
magical as an
crustaceans.
isopod.
What is tuk-tuk? What is that?
It's the tuk-tuks I know about are a particular kind of like motorized vehicle in Thailand. It's basically a motorbike with like a little cart with a back seat on it, so you can take
Crazy.
a bunch of people in it. And usually they're well expensive, but a couple times right when I first moved to Bangkok and had gotten a walkabout, my first job out of college, I got kind of lost and I wasn't exactly sure which way to go home. But a magical tuk-tuk pulled over and did not rip me off and took me right back to the street I needed to be on when I told him what it was. So they're magical.
Well, that worked. Now we're doing tuk-tuk is from a new Disney movie. Oh, it's that.
That's what they named the thing.
Yeah. I call him an isobear. I called him isobear because I bought one for my daughter. Obviously, it's isopod related. It's a bear with an isopod shell. So
That's
it definitely
cool.
looks
Yeah,
like an armadillo.
I'm gonna have to see the movie when it comes out.
It looks cool. It looks cool. But I'm saying it's a roly-poly. I haven't seen it roll up yet, but people are saying armadillo, but it is not an armadillo. It's totally armadillidium shell.
Well, remember that there are some other species, like the cubaris can roll up. Armadillo officinalis is not actually armadillidium, even though we often make that mistake when we're typing.
Mm-hmm.
Or our autocorrect does it for us.
I'm the worst. I call them all dillos, and they're not. They're dillium. They're dilliums. He has antenna. Okay, so that thing has antenna. So that's an isopod. Boom.
That's an isopod.
Nailed it. He's not a bug.
How many legs and how many body segments? Like, we can double check this, but
he's a bear shrimp.
Isopod.
He's got 4 legs. I didn't count the segments on him, but yeah, he totally is an isopod. I totally nailed it. I was right from the beginning.
And if he's only got 4 legs, he probably has a heck of a backstory.
Possibly. There's something going on in that forest that no wonder there's no more dragons.
Right. Did we have any other questions?
I don't think so. They're going on and on about Menards. So where Menards is from.
The hardware pro tip from our pro tips question earlier, the hardware store is better than the pet store and it's cheaper.
Oh, yeah. Or hi, buddy. I was wondering if you were going to come down. I was surprised they left me alone this long. So I think that's all we got. V Parvis roll up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the time, and we've been going for most of an hour, and our goal was half an hour to an hour. So I think it's about time to head on over to the after party.
I think so too. If nobody else has any questions, I'm going to give it like 20 seconds, and because you have to type them, suckers.
Maybe we give them 30 seconds. That way, it's 15 seconds for them to hear it with the lag, and then 15 seconds to type.
Yeah, we had 18 views tonight. I think that's at least when I checked. I don't know. V Parvis roll up.
A few more later.
V Parvis do roll up. That's good. Yep. Get out now. Fair. All right, guys. Yeah, anybody who wants, come find us on IsoBuddies on Facebook. Yeah, it's a Facebook group named IsoBuddies. DDIES is the end because I have to be correct in my verbiage. Spelling it's not just about bugs. It's about all kinds of small pets and
so join IsoBuddies on Facebook. But before you head over there, like, comment, subscribe, click the bell, do all the YouTube things. Help us really get a good start and reach some people because we want to keep doing this.
Yeah, do all of that. And I always forget to say that stuff because it feels weird, but it'd be really great to show some love. So like, subscribe, smash that bell icon, do all that stuff. I'm trying to channel Phil. I don't know if I'm doing it or not. But we love you, you beautiful bastards. So
I think that should be our sign off, Josh. We love you, you beautiful bastards.
that's Phil DeFranco, but I will be stealing from as many YouTube people as I can. Thanks, Ching. All right, guys. Excellent job. Thanks, Marley. Thanks, buddy. We'll talk to you guys later. So thank you very much.
Bye, guys.